in first thoughts, do you think Florida State will struggle with that Auburn running game?
I think it's just a little bit like watching Army and Navy. Struggle might not be the word. I think because you just have to measure yourself differently when you're playing against them. Stopping Auburn's run game might be holding them to under 200 yards. And if you get frustrated by the fact, it's like, one of my favorite players was Joe Dumars for the Detroit Pistons. Yep. And in those glory years when they were matched up against the Bulls, he used to have to cover Michael Jordan all the time. And I used to talk to Joe about it. And he said, you know what? One of the things about covering Jordan is you just can't get frustrated. You do your job, you cover it, you stick your hand up, and if he makes the basket, you trot down the field and play offense. That may be a little bit about Florida State in this football game. They've had a lot of success with everybody, but they can't get too caught up in trying to pitch a shutout. A good win on defense might be holding them to 200 yards, but when you watch Alabama play, if you've switched Jameis Winston if A.J. McCarron ran on the field, I'm telling you, you could put Alabama football uniforms on everybody else on the field, and you would not know the difference between an Alabama game and Florida State. They're big, they're strong, it's the same style. Jameis is different. I'm not saying he's good. I got that. But, and A.J. is very effective. The different style. But the rest of the team, exactly the same.
Winston's going to win the Heisman in a dance. We know that. In your mind, has he been the best player in college football?
I think from game 1 all the way through to game 13, yes. I don't even think it's close.
I agree. I voted for him. I voted for him. I think he deserves it. We'll leave the other stuff alone. But on the field, I thought he was the best player this year.
And right from the very first game, he had a highlight play in the very first game. His team was never – he just took over. Think about it. They had the number 1 pick in the draft. You lose a quarterback at number 1 pick off your team, and you get better at that position. That's incredible the way he's taken on this. And you got to give Jimbo Fisher a lot of credit. He's built this program. He's had great quarterbacks wherever he's been. He was at LSU, now here at Alabama. He seems to be a tremendous quarterback coach. I would not touch this game as a bettor. Go against Auburn, the way they believe. They've got a great unit of defensive linemen, about 8 to 10 of them that play. They've got a lot of veterans. They're very active. They run the ball. I get all of that. But if Jameis Winston's on his game and the deficiencies that Auburn's have in the secondary, Florida State should win the game.
Talking with Gary Danielson, of course, we put a wrap here on the regular season in college football. Army-Navy tomorrow, always a part of Americana. It's different than any other game, but it's still special. It's important for a country. It's just a great afternoon to watch. It really is. It's fun. It's a fun game. It feels like Christmas anyway when you watch an Army-Navy. It just does. It's a wonderful game to watch, and they have that tomorrow. When you see what's going on in Texas right now, what do you think the resolution is?
Well, first of all, I just want to comment on just what I'm saying. You're all over this, too. It's shameful the way it's being handled. I do understand it's the modern world where everybody wants to break stories and everybody wants to get a source, and people within Texas should be ashamed of themselves that they want to call somebody and be the source of a big story about a man who put 16 years of work at Texas. Yeah, we all lose our job. We all have off days. All of us that are starting quarterbacks get beat out eventually, and perhaps, I'm not sure about this, but perhaps it's a time has come that Texas may look for a change. But the way they're handling it, they should be ashamed of themselves.
Awful.
Top to bottom.
Yeah,
Top
awful.
to bottom. They all should look in the mirror, okay? Nobody deserves that, and let alone a man who put this much time into it. Now, we're all big boys here. He's been paid a lot of money as a coach, and when Texas A&M starts to rear their head up and becomes the hot school in Texas,
it's over.
It's not a surprise to me that Texas was going to react.
They have to.
It's not a surprise.
That's the way they act.
The big move besides Sumlin, Kevin's a fine young coach, but the big move was Texas A&M taking the chance to move in the SEC And the hot players in Texas now want to go play in the hot conference. It's as simple as that.
No question about it. And, I'm sure the SEC breathed a sigh of relief being in the game. I'm actually glad they're in the game. I was surprised when I was watching the Ohio State game and they took the lead. I didn't think they would get beat at that point. Give Michigan State credit. And let's be honest, Michigan State has had an incredibly underrated year. They won every game by double digits. They had a great year this year.
And the game they lost, if you go back to it, some of those calls that were being made at the end of the game when they lost to Notre Dame, and that's the one thing that college football does not reward, an improving team. It has this year, and it kind of fell into it. I'm happy about that. Auburn improved. They were a much better football team than the team that played against LSU. And by the way, isn't that what coaches are supposed to do, improve their football team through the year? So, yes, but, Mike, I've been doing college football since 1991, broadcasting games. And some of my partners get frustrated because I have never used the word momentum in a game in my life. Now, some people believe in it. I don't. But if ever a game I want to show, put on Ohio